الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. وعن أبي next حديث من شابتر في الصلاة. عن أبي سعيد الخدري رضي الله تعالى عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: إذا شك أحدكم في صلاته فلم يدري كم صلى أثلاثا أم أربعا فليطرح الشك وليبني على ما استيقن ثم يسجد سجدتين قبل أن يسلم، فإن كان صلى 5 شفعنا له صلاته، وإن كان صلى تماما كانت ترغيما للشيطان. رواه مسلم. إن كان صلى 5 شفعنا له صلاته، وإن كان صلى تماما كانت ترغيما للشيطان. يعني إغاظة من الشيطان، ترغيما للشيطان من الرغام وهو التراب، يعني فيها إلصاق أنف الشيطان بالتراب. تغيظ الشيطان كأنك تلصق أنفه بالتراب بهاتين السجدتين. وإن كان صلى 5 شفعنا له صلاته، يعني فتكون السجدتان مقام ركعة. This hadith, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri says that the Prophet ﷺ said, if you have doubt about your salah and you don't know if you pray 3 rak'at or 4 rak'at, then فليطرح الشك وليبني على ما استيقن, then consider it to be the less, because that is what you're sure of. You think you prayed 3 or 4. You're sure about 3, right? The 4th one is what? Doubtful now. 3 or 4, but definitely you prayed 3 now, because the only doubt is about the 4th one. Did you get it or not? So فليطرح الشك وليبني على ما استيقن, then consider it what you are sure about, which is the 3, and then you pray another rak'ah, but then you make sujood al-sahw. Why? Because the salah is deficient. There is doubt about part of the salah. He says, ثم يسجد سجدتين قبل أن يسلم, because again there's a deficiency in the salah, but with the doubt. Before the salam you make sujood, and if you have prayed if you had prayed 5, then the 2 sajda has made your salah even. شفعنا له صلاته. And if you had prayed just 4, then the 2 sajda would make the shaitan like angry. So this shows you how to make sujood. If you had doubt in your salah, you prayed 3 or 4. Now, وعن ابن مسعود رضي الله تعالى عنه قال صلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فلما سلم قيل له: يا رسول الله، أحدث في الصلاة شيء؟ قال: وما ذاك؟ قالوا: صليت كذا وكذا. يعني هو صلى 5 ركعات بدل 4 ركعات في هذه الصلاة. كان إحدى صلاتي العشي وصلى 5 بدل 4، فقال له: أحدث شيء في الصلاة؟ قال: وما ذاك؟ قال: صليت كذا وكذا، يعني صليت 5 ركعات. قال: فثنى رجليه واستقبل القبلة فسجد سجدتين ثم سلم ثم أقبل علينا بوجهه، فقال: إنه لو حدث في الصلاة شيء أنبأتكم به، ولكن إنما أنا بشر مثلكم أنسى كما تنسون، فإذا نسيت فذكروني، وإذا شك أحدكم في صلاته فليتحرى الصواب فليتم عليه ثم ليسجد سجدتين. وفي رواية البخاري: فليتم ثم يسلم ثم يسجد. ولمسلم أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم سجد سجدتي السهو بعد السلام والكلام. So here, sujood al-sahw, he talked. Prophet ﷺ prayed 5, and then they asked him after he prayed, what happened? He said, what are you talking about? وَمَا ذَاكَ؟ قالوا: صليت كذا وكذا. You prayed 5. So what he did is he sat in a position of tashahhud just before the sujood. فَثَنَى رِجْلَيْهِ. This is important because this shows you that when you do sujood al-sahw, like let's say you left the place and you just want to come and do sujood, you don't start from the upright position, you start from the sitting position. فثنى رجليه واستقبل القبلة فسجد سجدتين ثم سلم. ما في تشهد. Then he made salam. So there's no tashahud, but there is salam after sujood as-sahw. Now, ثم أقبل علينا بوجه. Then he turned around and talked to us. He says, if something happens in salah, I will tell you about it. So, which means don't assume that something has changed in the salah without me telling you. If something is going to be changed in the salah, I will tell you about it. ولكن إنما أنا بشر مثلكم. But I am a human being just like you. I forget just like you forget. I forget just like you forget. So this shows you that Prophet ﷺ is a human being. This is a good response to people who elevate Prophet ﷺ above the level of humans. They consider him, some people almost consider him as God. Some people even they call Abd al-Nabi or Abd al-Rasul, things like this. So أنا بشر مثلكم أنسى كما تنسون. I forget like you forget. فإذا نسيت فذكروني. When I forget, please remind me. وإذا شك أحدكم في صلاته فليتحرى الصواب. And when you have doubt about your salah, try to figure out. يتحرى الصواب means try to figure out what is the most probable. فليتحرى الصواب. If you are doubt, did I pray 3 or 4? The previous hadith says you فليطرح الشك ولابن عما استيقن. Here it says فليتحرى الصواب. What is the difference? What is the difference between this one and this one? The first one he says, forget about what you have doubt and consider the less. But here he says, فَلْيَتَحَرَّ الصَّوَابِ. See what is most probable and do accordingly. What is the difference between here and here?
No. You asked قصدي فليتحرى الصواب يعني
يبني على الأقل يبني على المستيقن
طبعا
بمعنى يبني على المستيقن
يعني صح
لا هذا لا
think deeper what's most likely, right?
Exactly. The first hadith is talking about if you have no clue, 50-50. You don't know what is most probable. Did I pray the 4th rak'ah or not? You don't know. That is فَلْيَطْرَحِ الشَّكْ, because it remains shak. It will remain shak all the time. It will always remain a doubt. Then you forget about the doubt and you base it on what you are sure about, which is the less. But here فَلْيَتَحَرَّى الصَّوَابِ, he's talking about when you have some kind of guess, not only a guess, but a feeling of what is most probable. You say, okay, 70% I think I prayed 4 rak'at, but 30% I have doubt. You should then consider that you prayed what?
70%.
4 rak'at. That's important. غلبة الظن. You go with غلبة الظن, what is most probable. We are required to go with what we think is most probable in many things in religion. In many things. When we look for the Hilal of Ramadan, are we 100% sure that we got it right? We're not 100%. There's always mistakes. One day before, one day after. That is common. صح? It is so common. And still we have to go by that. Also when the times of Salah, there might be a slight difference, 5 minutes before, 5 minutes after. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not hold you accountable because you prayed 5 minutes before or after, as long as you've done what your best is. Many things. Even in trials, you bring shuhud. And the hakim has to go with what the shuhud tell him and what the evidence is. Is he 100% sure? He's not 100%. Can he, for instance, give a death sentence to someone he did not kill? Possible. صح؟ إن كم مظلوم ممكن يحكم عليه بالإعدام هو ما قتل. واخد بالك? Will Allah hold him accountable for killing that person? No, subhanallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is very important because this removes the waswas, the shak. The women who have the hayd and al-istihada, they have the period, the blood coming in times different from the period. Then they have to base on the color of the blood, and they have to base on what is their usual habit and their usual dates. And if they're not sure, they start from the beginning of the Arabic month. And although they're bleeding throughout the month, but they would consider the dawrah, the period, these few days, the 5 days which she was used to before, or the 5 days like her sisters are used to, or she goes by the color of blood. But could there be a mistake? There's a big possibility for a mistake. But still, you as a Muslim, you are required to go with غلبة الظن, and that's what, because our knowledge is so limited. وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. We don't know the reality of things. This is a strong response to people who want to deny Sunnah. They come and tell you, so how do you know the Prophet ﷺ said that? That is true, I wasn't there. I wasn't there. But, this is the, ilm mustalah al-hadith, this is the most accurate science in verifying anything in history. And we have used the most accurate thing according to our abilities as human beings to verify that this is a saying of the Prophet. And we have scrutinized and differentiated between what is strong and what is weak, what is really strong mutawatir and what is sahih and what is hasan. We have graded all these things based on the best tools that we have. On top of that, we know that Allah has preserved it, and that Allah will guide this ummah and they will not go astray in this. إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ يَشْمِلُ الْقُرْآنَ وَالسُّنَّةِ وَإِنَّ لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. So based on all this, we are sure that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave for a saying of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam enough evidence for the ulama to judge as authentic sahih hadith or mutawatir hadith, we are sure that this is a saying of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because Allah promised to preserve the sunnah. So many things, and this is like, for instance, إِذَا جَاءَكُمْ مُؤْمِنَاتٌ مُهَاجِرَاتٍ فَامْتَحِنُوهُنَّ. When the women used to come from Mecca to Medina, Allah says فَامْتَحِنُوهُنَّ. Ask them about their iman. Do they really believe in Allah and His Messenger? Just ask them questions. And then Allah says Allahu a'lamu bi imanihinna. Only Allah knows if they are believers, because some woman may have a fight with her husband in Mecca, and then she leaves him and comes to Medina and says, I'm a Muslim. And that used to happen, and that's why the ayah was for. Because some women just wanted to leave their husbands or leave their families or something, and they wanted an excuse. So they come and say, we have believed and we left our families, we want to come to Medina. So Allah says, no, you ask them about the iman. Do they believe in Allah? Do they believe in His Messenger? But then Allah says, Allahu a'lamu bi imanihin. Allah knows best what is in their heart. But if they tell us, yeah, we believe in Allah and His Messenger, is that enough for us? Yes. That is enough. Allah says after this, فَإِنْ عَلِمْتُمُهُنَّ مُؤْمِنَاتٍ فَلَا تَرْجِعُهُنَّ إِلَى الْكُفَّارِ. Allah says, لم يقل فَإِنْ ظَنَنْتُمْ. Although for us it is غَلَبَةُ الظَّنِّ, صح? Allah considered this ilm. This is firm knowledge. فَإِنْ عَلِمْتُمُهُنَّ. But is عَلِمْتُمُهُنَّ of us just like Allahu a'lamu bi imanihinna? Totally different, صح? Allah knows exactly if they are believers or not. But according to our weak abilities as a human being, this is ilm for us. This is enough as ilm for us. Right? So فَإِنْ عَلِمْتُمُهُنَّ مُؤْمِنَاتٍ. So this is enough because they told us. We went with al-zahir, what is apparent to us. So here, فَلْيَتَحَرَّ الصَّوَابِ. He should base on what he thinks is most probable, and he continues based upon this. But still, is he 100% sure? No. There's a deficiency in the salah. Right? Then he has to make sujood. He has to make sujood as-sahw. Here there's probably an addition to the salah, because he based, let's say I prayed for number 4 rak'ah, maybe 60% or 70%. Okay, there might be an addition to the salah that he has doubt about. So he makes فَلْيُتِمَّ ثُمَّ يُسَلِّمْ ثُمَّ يَسْجُدْ. He makes sujood after salam. But when he has so much doubt about the rak'ah, like when he was 50-50, he makes a sujood before the salam. But as we said yesterday, was someone here yesterday about where you can make sujood? Were you here yesterday? Imam Abu Hanifa, for instance, said sujood is always before. Imam Shafi'i said sujood is always after salam. Some imams say that if it's a deficiency in the salah, it's before, and after if it's an addition to the salah. It's amr wasa. They have all agreed that wherever you make sujood, you're good. The only difference is what is the best. Okay, so you do your best. If you have a situation exactly like the hadith, like for instance you forgot 3 or 4, 50-50, and you based on 3 and you made your salah, where do you make the sujood? Before, just like the hadith. Then you're sure you did it before, and that is the only way to do it. Here, for instance, you based on what you thought was most probable, and you continue your salah based upon that. Then you make it after. You've prayed and you've 2 rak'at instead of 4, and you made salam. Then you came back and did 2 rak'at, and then you make the sujood where? Before or after? After, just like the other hadith. Now that was one of the, you prayed and you forgot the tashahhud in the middle, just like the first hadith, Abdullah ibn Buhayna. You forgot the tashahhud in the middle, and then you made sujood. Where do you make the sujood? Before. So if you get the scenario just like the hadith, then you have no problem. If you are in doubt, do it before or after, you're good. ولأحمد من شك في صلاته فليسجد سجدتين بعد ما يسلم. Again, they said the same. This is a continuation of this hadith. So he makes sujood after salam, but this is the shak. where you have a probability. The shak where you don't have, where you're 50-50, you do it before. When you have based on a shak and you went with what you think is most probable, you do after. I think this makes it clear. We're almost done with this chapter. A question about this hadith?
أطول فترة الواحد يتذكر فيها
يعني بعد مدة يعني كم؟ يعني لو عدى عليه كم مدة ممكن يرجع يسجد سجود السهو؟ هو العلماء بيقولوا لو طال الفصل ما يسجد. لو طال الفصل, if it's been a long period of time, like he remembered after 2 or 3 hours, it's gone. يعني there is no place for sujood السهو anymore. The salah was deficient and that is it. But if you remembered like shortly after maybe 5 minutes after talking to some people, that's okay. You come back and you do your sujood.
Normally you can remember within less than a minute.
Exactly.
Unless somebody told you.
Most probably. No.
If you don't remember 1 minute, you remember.
لا ما في سجود وقتها. نعم.
إذا ذكر المصلي إنه في بداية الركعة الخامسة إنها هي الخامسة هل يكملها أو
لا ما يكملها ما يكملها. If he figured out after he started rak'ah number 5 that I'm praying number 5 right now, the hadith says فليتحرى الصواب. You go back to where you were and you make salam. Okay, you sit down in the place of tashahhud. Okay, you make if you haven't made the full, you probably have not made the full tashahhud because you started with number 3. You make your tashahhud and you have to make sujood al-sahw here.
So
right?
you have to restart the tashahhud, or you got to start with just Allahumma salli ala Muhammad?
No, you have to, because he hasn't done tashahhud. He thought it was number 3.
Okay.
No? So he went from the number 4 to number 3 without tashahhud. He thought it was number 3 and this was number 4, but it turned out to be this was number 4 and this is now number 5. So he goes back to number 4 and he's done the sujood already. He's done the sujood, the 2 sujood, he's done that, but he has not done the tashahhud yet. He does his tashahhud, he cannot miss that, and he does his salam and he makes sujood after, right? After salam. Now.